Welcome to our live crafting session this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire here in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me. It is currently Wednesday the 27th of July 2023. It's a Thursday evening. Welcome to you all. If you're watching live, I'd love it if you could say hi so that I know who's watching with us. It's always nice to know. I'm looking for my phone so that I can see, and I've obviously put it down somewhere so safe. I can't find it. Yes, maybe it'll turn up in a minute. So, welcome. We have been using the Trucking Along stamp set for our stamp set of the week this week, and it does have a matching punch which punches out this main truck image, and you can see here actually that the size of the stamps are larger than the size printed on the front of the case. And that's because Stampin' Up need to get all the other header information. So if I grab the stamp here, you can see it's quite a bit bigger. It says here the images are 90%, so 10% bigger than that which you see on the case. So we've had some fun with this week at Coffee and Card, and I have shared some of the samples already with you this week, and I've also added a few extras. Susan Payton from our team did a great job of one with the scene with the shopping Les Shop designer papers. It was really very clever. So it was a delivery van that had delivered to the shop, so that was good. And I have also shared some of the cards that were made at Coffee and Card. Hi Diane, thanks for joining us, and hi to you Catherine. So let me just show you quickly the cards that I've made during the week this week, and then I have got some new papers to show you, and also a fancy fold card that we're going to do this evening, which I've converted into UK sizing so that it fits in a standard UK envelope. So let me show you really quickly. I think this might have been the one that I did in person. I'm not sure if it was the one I did on Monday or whether it's the one I did at Coffee and Card, but you can see the truck here, and there are lots of different things that the truck can be carrying. So we've got a Christmas tree, we've got the wooden planks that you can put behind, we've got sunflowers, we've got presents, we've got little pots with flowers. So this one is carrying the sunflowers. Now I know that's quite small, so I'm not sure how much of that you will actually see, but that is the sunflower one, and this is using the gingham papers, which I really love, and this is Berry Burst. This one is carrying presents, and again I've got gingham behind. I've stamped the trees from the set on either side, punched out the truck and popped the presents behind, and I showed you in the video on Monday how to line this up so that you can stamp the presents or the tree or whatever you want in the correct place. Here's another version using some different trees and this lovely pecan pie and lemon lime twist. I used Daffodil Delight Blends pens for this, so for this one I coloured this in. This one is stamped with the stamp set, and this one was coloured as well. And you can tell the difference because if you use the stamp set, you get this really nice white line where you've got the light shining on the wheel arches and on the top side of the truck, and you can see there they're missing there. And then yesterday I created this Christmas card. So I have stamped the truck in real red. Hi Caroline, thanks for joining us. I stamped the pine trees either side, and then I added the Christmas tree there, and I put a few little red baubles on there. And then for the backing, because I didn't have any Christmas papers at the time to hand, I just stamped Merry Christmas, although you can't really see the full detail of that because it's hidden behind the panel, but it does actually say Merry Christmas stamped all the way around. And then yesterday I created this one, and this is using some of the papers that we're going to be using this evening. It's a really fabulous set of papers called One Horse Open Sleigh. It has a coordinating stamp set with a horse and a sleigh. We are just using the papers tonight, and I've also added some of these self-adhesive snowflakes. I picked out one of the pieces of paper, I stamped the truck and punched it out, and then I used our craft knife, the one that goes on our take your pick tool. It just screws in, and I've actually cut the window out. I don't know if you can see that on there. Probably quite difficult for you to see, but you can see through. You could even put a little bit of window sheet behind that if you wanted to. And then I stamped the presents, coloured those in, and then I've just cut those out, just tucked them behind the truck. So it makes a really cute Christmas card. The Merry Christmas that is effective as a background. Oh yes, thank you. Yes, although you can only just see it very lightly, but it was in the absence of any Christmas papers when I was making that particular card. And this one is a top fold card, just for something different. And I've stamped the sentiment that comes with the set, wishing you a festive Christmas, on a small banner, and then laid that on the top. And this is Misty Moonlight card colour behind. Hi Brenda, welcome and good evening to you. So those are the ones that I've done so far this week. What I wanted to do was show you the new papers, because I don't think I've shared these with you in detail. So let me grab these. And these are a great set of papers. Although there are a few Christmas themed ones specifically, a lot of them are just winter scenes that you could use for a winter birthday. And we're going to be making what was called a Flyiung Seagull card by the lady who designed it, and her name is Susan Campfield. And these panels here can either go to cover the front, or they can tuck behind. And it's called a Flyiung Seagull because when these pieces are extended, so you can open it up and this whole piece comes out like so, it looks a bit like a seagull from the top, like so. So that's the card design that we're going to be using, and then we're going to be using these papers. Here's another sample of that, and this was the one I did before I worked out how to do it so that it would fit a standard A6 envelope, because this one, when it's folded up, is wider than A6. Okay, let me show you the papers. If I can find a small pair of scissors to open them. So this pack of papers is currently available, one of our online exclusives, which means you won't see it in the catalogue. It's $11.75 and it consists of 48 sheets. There are 12 designs and they are all double-sided. They have a main design on one side and then patterns on the reverse. So I'll show you them as we go through. You get 4 each of each design, so you could easily make 48 cards just by cutting a panel off or putting these are 6 by 6 inches. You could put this on a 6-inch square card, and you can actually then make 48 cards from this one pack of paper. I'm actually going to use a couple of sheets, and I haven't quite decided which ones I'm going to use. I'm hoping you're going to help me choose which ones we use. Okay, so let me show you the papers. So there are 4 of each one. So this is the first one with a cabin in the background and a snowy scene. Hopefully you can see that. And I'll show you the reverse as we go along. So the reverse has got a very, very fine pattern in sweet sorbet. Then we have this one here, and this is the design on the reverse side. So it's got a huge tree here, tree trunk, and then you've got trees at the side and behind, and you've got that red on the reverse. Then you've got this fox in this snowy scene with the trees. I'm hoping you can see that if I lift that up. Hi Carol, thanks for joining us. And then the reverse of that is this lovely wood grain. Then we have this with a nice brown speckled pattern, perfect for men's cards, but this was the pattern I used for our card yesterday that I made, this one here. So all I've done is used up to this point. You can see where the break in that fence is, and I've just trimmed it top and bottom and layered it up. On the reverse of that is that brown. Then we've got an incline with the trees and the snow, and on the reverse of that we've got misty moonlight and little dots. Then we have this one, might be one of my favourites. It's got this cute little deer in the background. Hopefully you can see that looking on. And then you've got the trees here, and then it's got that green sort of net effect. And then you've got this one which could be a lake or just a frosty scene, and then another wood grain, light wood grain on the reverse. We have this one with the blue and white stripes, and then a perspective looking down. So if you've got any stamps where it's from an aerial point of view, these would look perfect. And I've seen people do it with animals and also snowman. Often you'll have a snowman with his head tilted up at an angle. That makes a really cute card. And the reverse of that is those stripes. Then we have a scene with a cabin. So this is probably the most Christmassy, I would say, because it's got the lights, it's got the little wreath around the door, but it doesn't have to be Christmas. And then on the reverse, and then we have this one here with some leaves scattered around coming off the trees, and then this pool party on the back. Then we have this one with the tree and again the snow scene, and then a small young fir tree, and this has got lovely Christmas trees on the reverse, well I should say pine trees on the reverse. And then the last one we have is this one here, again could also be a favourite of mine. So you've got this hedge with the gate post, and then a very wintry scene, so it could be water, it could be in the field, and snow across here at the top. So a really fab set of papers, 48 sheets in total. So I need some help deciding how this, what papers we're going to use for the card. So if I show you what the end card is going to look like, what I want to do is I want a panel, 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 and then another panel here, and even behind here with the same or similar layout, so it is literally like a complete scene. Obviously here I've used different papers, and this was class back in March. I can't believe it was that long ago that I did this fancy fold class. So back in March I did that. So I have to say I did have to print off my instructions because I haven't remembered how I did it, and all of my classes have printed set of dimensions and photographs, and then videos, one for each of the projects, and that's part of my class in a box offering. So the question is, which papers are we going to use? So I'm thinking I want it to be able to go right the way across, so this would certainly work because you could have a complete sort of forest of trees, couldn't you? So I think that's a really good contender. Don't know how many of those I'll need. This one I don't think would work because unless you had that as the main and then cut these panels, which potentially could work, but it's sort of cut off on the right hand side. If this was in the centre, I think it would work a bit better. That one won't work for the way that I want it to. This one would, but whether it's too plain. And again, you could use that and have the panels. Actually, that would potentially work. Oh dear, more choices than I thought. This one won't work as well because I want a fairly straight line for it to work on. This one would definitely work, but as I've used it for this card here, I'm not going to use it again. Let's see. The one with the fox I think is too pale. It just needs to be on its own, that one. This one I'm not going to use because it's got one sort of main tree. And this one because I don't want repeat of the houses. So that's made life a little bit easier. So we can either use this one, and I can have one panel which would be the front panel here that has got the deer on, and then I can use these panels on either side. So I've got 1, 2, potentially 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't have to do all of them. So that would definitely work, and have the this as a central portion. So that's one. This would also work, but I think there's less interest in that one, so I'm going to discount that one. This one would certainly work because it would look like a complete forest. Well, the bluey ones with the yellow peach. I think this is the one you mean, isn't it? This one. Or this one. And again, this would work because I could have a panel on the left, a panel on the right, and then I could have this as the main focus. And the whole idea is that I'm going to punch out and put a truck in there on the front panel, so we bring it all in together. So I think either this, I think this one, because I think the truck is going to detract from this, but this in its own right would make a great great card with this technique. So I got there myself really, didn't I? But Catherine suggested this one. Any other suggestions before I carry on and make the card? Okay, so let's look for our create our base card. Now, originally I thought I would do this with Pool Party. However, this doesn't go with this piece of card in the slightest. So I'm going to switch that out and let's see, let's just try a couple. So I could use Misty Moonlight, would definitely work. This is Petal Pink. There's a hint of this in here, but I think it needs to be darker. Misty Moonlight, says Catherine, and that's what I've gone for. Okay, we're on the same page today, Catherine. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 pieces of card, or a piece and a offcut. I can use this one. Okay, so let's do the scoring and cutting first. So for this particular card, which I have converted to UK sizing, the original card was designed by Susan Campfield. Let's just extend this out so you can see. Let's move this over. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut 1/2 centimetre off, so that this becomes 20.5 centimetres. So you can either measure 20.5 here, or you can measure 1/2 centimetre on the right hand side. So it just depends on your preference, really. Like so. And then we're going to score this at 5, 10 and 15 centimetres. Okay, and we're doing actually the 2 sides together, so I'm going to score the whole sheet and then cut it in half. So 5, I'm just checking actually, it's 5, 10 and 15.5. Okay, so these are 5 centimetre panels. This one is 5.5 centimetres, and the reason I did it that way is to make sure that these pieces can fold around so it's slightly wider without getting caught up in the front. If they're all the same, you can get quite a little bit of bulk there. Okay, I'm going to turn this the other way around and cut it down the centre line at 14.85. So we have 2 pieces that are identical, and where possible I always like to do the scoring on one piece and then cut it into multiple cards, because if you cut it and then score twice, you've got 6 opportunities to get it not quite right. This way you've got 3 opportunities. Okay, and then I'm going to take another piece of the same coloured card, which I've just popped here, and this is going to measure 10.5 by 14.85. So this is the front of a standard sized card. Okay, I'll cut the papers in a second. I just want to show you how this all goes together. So we've got 5, 5, 5.5 and a 5 centimetre on its own. And what we're going to do is fold that single 5 centimetre piece over, like so. And these are going to fit together, like this. Okay, if I just lift this up, hopefully you can see that there. And then what we're going to do is put our front card on top of those 2, and that will give us our fancy fold. So what I like to do is attach these two together first and then attach them to the piece. So with any luck I have some tape to hand, and I'm just going to take my glasses off and line these two up. Now there's lots of different ways of doing this Flyiung Seagull card. This is my preferred way. Anything where you can use your table flat rather than lifting anything up in the air, in my mind, is always better, because you're more likely to get an accurate fold or an accurate join. Now this bit won't be seen, so it really doesn't matter what it looks like. Like so. And you can peel these off and use them as part of the adhesive process, or you can leave that on and put glue all the way over. And I think what I'm going to do is, as I've got the tape out, just going to tape the whole of this edge. Now what I want to do is just put this behind so that I can see the edge. Hello Cassie. Cassie dog's come to join us. And I don't worry about folding these other pieces until this bit is done. So let's do this fairly quickly. So this gets a really interesting card. It's not too bulky, so it doesn't cost any more to send unless you really load it up with sequins and layers and things like that. Okay, let's put a little bit down there. Slightly Heath Robinson, this. Okay, so just going to peel these off. Use my tool to help me with that. You could peel part of them off if you wished. Oops. Try not to stick yourself to it. Like so. So I hope everybody's well. We've had a beautiful day here today, somewhat different to the evening that we had yesterday when I was out and got absolutely soaked, literally soaked to the skin. Okay. Right, as I say, this doesn't matter which way round it is, but I'm going to put these pieces down so I can see where the edge of my card is, and I'm just going to position this on the front, like so. There we are. Okay, so this piece stays flat, right, and then these pieces will fold like so. Okay, and then you can either choose to fold them over front, or you can tuck them behind. Entirely up to you. Okay, right, let's do some decorating, and then I have already stamped some trucks, so I'm going to punch those out, and I'm going to show you quickly how I did this open window. So the panels I need are 4 pieces that are 4.5 wide by 14.35. So, and 1 piece that's going to go in the front. So this should be nice and easy. Okay, so 4.5. This will give you a little border all the way around. If you wanted it to go completely across each panel. You can make it the full 5 centimeters. I'm going to cut a little bit off the bottom, and I'm going to cut them all at the same time so that I know they're the same height. And I've got 2 pieces here, so 4.5, 4.5, and 4.5. So this will actually give me 6 panels. Okay, and then I'm going to cut one of these at 10 centimeters. By 14.35. Okay, let's have a look and see if my theory actually works out. So we've got this one here, and then I'm not worrying about these being in any particular order, but I'm going to mix them up a little bit, like so. This one, this one, perfect, I'm happy with that. And then I can also put one behind here. So let's attach these, and for speed I'll just use some wet glue. Like so, and it also gives me the ability to just move it around on our piece. So there's one. And also you could mix and match these papers. You could use your own, different papers. You could just use standard Christmas papers or any scene. So the shops papers would look good here too. There we are. I think that's really cute. Okay, I need to put my glasses on, see if there's any more comments. Hi Caroline. Let me just see what Catherine has said. Sorry everybody. Catherine typed it at the same time as we picked it up. That's the thing about having a delay. Is that I'm about 5 seconds ahead. Okay, so there's this one. This one. So obviously this uses a fair bit of paper, but I've still got another sheet of this, and I've still got some odd pieces as well. Okay, there we go, there's our scene. So, as I say, these can go behind and fold out. Oops. Put a bit more glue on there. Or they can fold in front. And I think if it was me and I was putting this in a card, I'd put them in front, and then you've got the reveal of the whole thing. And what I can do is put these pieces in here, here and here, so you've got a complete section. So let's just do that. Technically this should be slightly wider, this should be 5 centimeters, but because you're not going to see right the way up to that middle section, because it'll be behind the fold, I'm not actually going to worry about that. because unless you open it right the way up you wouldn't see. So this one here. There we go. So I'm just putting it to one side so that these panels are the same width apart. And that effectively is a 6x6 here, a 6x6 here, and then a panel. Okay, so that's the technical part of the card all done. So it stands up like so. Obviously you can't see that in great detail, but stands up like that. Okay, so let's see what the truck looks like after all that. So I had a go at stamping the truck on some different papers. So I stamped one onto white, I did one on smoky slate, and I did one on crumb cake, because I did wonder whether the white was too obvious. So I'm thinking I might try it, this one here. So I'm just going to punch this one out, and I just stamped this in Misty Moonlight. So I must have known. Take my glasses off. And I'll show you quickly how I cut out the window. So there is a window piece that punches out with the punch, but if you punch this out, which you can, you lose some of the detail of the cab if you just punch the whole thing out. I guess you could stamp another one of those and punch that out and then lay it on top, and then you'd have the detail. So if you know what I mean, so you'd stamp it on there on white or something, punch that out and then lay the detail on top. But what I did was I just used one of our new blades for our take your pick tool. So this tool has got lots of different ends that you can screw in. It's got a glue end for picking up sequins and things like that. And so all I did was I took my sharp craft blade, and you do want either a cutting mat or something underneath, and I literally just cut this down, and I did actually cut out the steering wheel because I was too lazy to cut round it. So just making sure that this is nicely cut without going through to my table underneath, like so. I'm hoping that will, yes, that will pop out. And what I'm actually going to do is put a little bit of window sheets behind. So if I can find some. You could just use some cellophane. Or acetate. You could use an offcut from a cellophane bag or from the piece that you get in your stamps, but I'm going to just put this tiny little piece. I bet you won't even be able to see it. This little piece behind. If I flip it, can you see that in the light? I don't know. Yes, you can, just. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue underneath. Yeah, tiny amount on top. and then I'm not worried about it covering the bit underneath, as long as it covers the window. There we go. Okay, just going to leave that for a second. Hope it doesn't fall off. So now I've got my truck with my window. As I say, not sure how much of that you can actually see. Okay, looks a bit small on there, doesn't it? Anyway, there are lots of new exciting products coming out in our Christmas catalogue that you'll be able to put in that scenery. So I'm going to add the presents. I think I'm going to do what I've done here, is just stamp them and fussy cut them and put them on the back. Or I could add a tree. I might do that. Maybe I'll add the tree, because that'll be quicker for you. Let me find a spare piece of card, find the stamp set. And obviously you could, there's other things you could put on here if you've got a little dog or anything else like that. You could add any of those. Okay, let me just grab a green. Just going to shut my door. So you can see. Not much better, is it? Okay, let's grab shaded spruce will be perfect for our tree. And grab a block. Just caught you. Have to catch up. Thank you. Thank you, Cat. Right, let's have a look. So this is shaded spruce. This is the outline of the tree, like so. This is the infill. Like so. Like that. And I can just cut with some scissors, or I can just use my craft knife to cut that out. I used the craft knife for this one here. It was easier than scissors because it's such a small area. So I'm not going to cut the bottom off because I'm going to use that to attach it. So I'm just going to, so when I'm cutting something like this, I like to do all the bits that go in the same direction. If you've got a die cut or a punch with a tree, that would also be perfect, wouldn't it? I could have also stamped this on a piece of green card. I would probably have used soft sea foam, maybe. Let's tease that out. I can see which bit I haven't quite connected. Sorry, could have done this bit earlier, couldn't I? Okay. Right, just cut this little bit down and then I'm going to attach it to the back of the truck. Like so. So I'm going to attach it like that. That'd be quite nice with a few trees, wouldn't it? But I don't want you to have to sit and watch me do that. But I think I will. I'm just going to use, let's see what have I got, minced macaron here, just to go over the edges. So I haven't got any white pieces standing out like that. And you can do that along these pieces too. So I know it's quite small, isn't it? So yeah, you could definitely stamp that on some mint macaron or soft sea foam or something. Okay, so I'm going to stick this behind. I need to cut that little bit out there. I've got my scissors to hand. No. So there we are. And I'm leaving the piece underneath, so I've got something to attach it to, because if you cut it right the way down you've only got the tiniest bit. So what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to stamp some more trees and layer them behind that. But for the purposes of getting our card done and not keeping you forever, and also I have a team meeting at 8 o'clock. And I haven't eaten either, so I might sneak some food in. So let's just attach this like so. Little bit of glue on the back. Position that on our truck. I have that over the front, look, like so, like that. And then I'm going to stamp a couple more and put them in. Hopefully you can see that. Sorry, it's so tiny, isn't it? Let me put it on here. There we go. There's our truck. So it's got its piece of glass behind, and it's got our tree. Okay, so the finishing touch is to add this. So I could put it here as if it's going, I think it needs to be down here. So it's going this side, doesn't it? On this sort of track here. It does look a little bit small on there, I do agree. But hey ho. I'm looking for some dimensionals. And then the final thing will be to add a sentiment. So I could stamp a large Happy Christmas, or I could use that wishing you a festive Christmas on a banner. And then you've got the back of this that you could put a white panel on. Now what you'd need to do is make sure it wasn't a solid panel, otherwise these pieces won't fold up properly. You'll just end up with a solid piece behind like that, and you won't be able to see anything. So what I would do is probably put a panel here in white, a panel here in white, and you could, if you've got any other pieces left, decorate the rest of this with your other piece. So let's just pop this off here and then I'm going to round up. So I'm going to deliberate about my sentiment. Let's get rid of those last ones. As I say, I'm going to add some more trees which I'll just tuck in behind. So I think what I'm going to do is put this central, like so, and then I might use "Wishing You a Festive Christmas" across the top, and then a larger sentiment, or I could use the "Happy Christmas," or I've also got "Special Delivery." What I'm after. I'm just going to stamp one here, see what it looks like. Oh, that's a happy birthday. It's not a lot of good for me, although it would make Christmas birthday card. Here we go. And that sentiment should fit on here. You a festive Christmas. And then on my other sample here, I just used a pen to draw some lines of shadow, but if you're not confident in doing that, you could just leave it as is. You could also stamp the road right the way across. Let's just pop this on Misty Moonlight and we're done. Making sure it's well inked, so lots of light tapping but no pressure. And then just going to pop this in here with any luck. That's it. Now if you've got papers that have got Christmas trees on, or Christmas tree scene, this would be fabulous. You could also, yeah, that works. I'm going to leave it with that. You could also stamp a complete tree scene. That would definitely work too. And I'm just going to pop this up with some dimensionals. And we're done. So that is a Flyiung Seagull card, which is this one here, originally created by Susan Campfield in the United States, and the measurements I've given you are for UK sized cards. So she's in America, so her sizing will fit American sized cards because they're slightly different. They're wider but slightly shorter. So there we go. I know you can't see it standing up particularly well, so I'm holding it like that for you. So now you've got a complete scene right the way across, and you've got this one here, this one hidden underneath, and you can fold it sitting behind so it comes out like that. You can also fold it in front, and it works either way when you're putting it in the envelope. Okay, so it has got a little bit of bulk, but it should still go standard letter, unless you put lots of dimensionals on it, in which case it'll obviously need to go large letter here for us in the UK. So I will add some more trees on there just to give it a little bit more bulk, and some panels on the back, but I hope you like it. I love these papers. They're available currently. They're one of our online exclusives, so only available while stocks last. $11.75 for the full pack of 48 sheets. So thank you so much for joining me. I've got just 4 minutes to wrap up here and then get ready for my team meeting. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you like the design. As I say, there's lots of other things you could put on there. Obviously, I'm using our stamp set of the week, Trucking Along, but any other characters, you could put snowman, you could put cars, I don't know, anything else that you've got, foxes, anything that would fit a scene would be absolutely perfect. So, thank you so much everyone. I'm at Coffee and Card tomorrow afternoon in Brackley, and Monday afternoon in Toaster, and Tuesday morning in Brackley, and this video will be uploaded to YouTube probably now tomorrow, depending on what time we finish this evening. So thank you so much. I hope that's been useful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I appreciate your company, and do take care. Bye everyone. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.